Hey there, I am the Pixel Knight, and I am here to show a bit about my process. So, what in specific I'm going to be showing today is how I make my tile sets. I had a request recently from a Discord user whose name I will not share for privacy reasons. Was asking me if I could teach him how to make grass tiles. Um, Now, I don't have too much time to do that, but I figured I would make a video. Just hope it helps, man. Um, I really do. If it does, maybe I'll make a video in the future about how I made these beautiful, beautiful dirt tiles. But yeah, without any further ado, let's jump right in it. All right, now here we are. The first thing I think about when I am creating a tile set is how big do I want my tiles to be? Now, right now, I'm working with tiles that are 16 by 16 because that's where my current skill level is at. Um, they're amongst the easiest to work with, and that's why I work with tiles that are that big. Um, so let's jump into it. I already did the calculations. I've tried to make this video a couple of times already. So, you want to make a 3x3 grid, tile grid, um, and you'll see why in a little bit. So you just create a new one. 48 by 48 is 9 tiles. Now, start by doing the bottom edge. I'm going to just do this really quick. I'm not going to explain too much in detail of how to do that because I'm not the greatest with, I'll explain it a little bit, but there are people who do this better than me. So I start by, with my color gradient that I'm using, start with the second to darkest, and then I make my eraser tool ×2, basically. How I did that is I pressed E to swap to the eraser tool, and then I held Control and used the scroll wheel to increase the size of my brush. Now I pressed B to swap back, and I'm just going to kind of extrude the edges a little bit like that. So I have 4 in the middle, 2 on the edges. That's just how I do my tile sets. You don't have to do it like that. It's just my preference. And now I swapped to the third lightest, or the third darkest, yeah, third darkest color in my current palette's gradient, what I'm using. Just, creating some leaf shapes along the edges. Then I'm just going to connect these up like so. And fill in the rest. And I'm going to go down the line. Now, just adding some highlights, just kind of being careful not to completely obscure the dark green bits. And then I'm going to just do a few leaf shapes up this way. and then there we go. And actually, that's the wrong direction compared to what I normally do, so let's fix that real quick. There we go. And then I'm gonna connect these up like so. And just fill that in. And then the next one, this is the color that represents the top of the tile. So I'm going to go from here, and I'm going to draw a line, and then I'm going to break the line up a little bit and extrude it down like that. And then I'm going to, then I'm going to go and bring it down a little bit. Essentially, you are trying to create leaf shapes, blades on the top. You might need to fix some errors here or there, and that's perfectly fine. And here you are. Then you take your darkest color in the palette, or not in the palette, in the color gradient that you're using, and you just want to highlight the edges. And just use the dropper tool to select that color and then go to the next gradient. Just kind of make a leaf shape like that. And I'm going to copy that, paste it onto my 4 edges. And then I'm going to rotate these in the correct orientation. There you go. There you have that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of the corners. I'm going to do this one because I normally do that corner. It's easier for me. And you just complete the process again. 2 from the edge. It's okay to be a little bit sloppy with it. Because if you make a mistake, you can always fill it in. And then just kind of round off the edge. Like so. And then sort of just want to I'll do that. That's simpler. And I think it ends up looking nicer too. Okay. And then the next color gradient. Just drawing some leaf shapes. Then you want to connect it up. Like so, and then fill it in. Oh, yes, that's right. Just doing some highlights. Kind of want to do this on the tops of the grass because it accentuates the shape. You want to avoid harsh lines like that though, as much as possible. So it just doesn't look very good in pixel art. Um, that's really hard to get that corner. Maybe I'll do something like that. And then, yeah, it looks okay. Then you just kind of want to do this, create a few blades going up and that, and then you want to connect them up. Just try to keep the shape of the tile. And then the next, and just kind of do what you did on the other. And there you go. And as you can see, it's kind of creating a, you know, grass blade-like feel as if you were to take a paintbrush and flick it out this way. That's kind of what you want. You just copy that then and paste it on the other corners. And oh, I'm forgetting a step. I might try a style without the outlines at some point and see how that ends up looking. Might do that when I start experimenting with higher resolutions. All right, so you got the outline. You just then copy that and paste it into the other corners. And then you rotate them. There we go. And then you want to fill in the middle with a solid color, for the top. You want it to match the other ones around. And there we are, the first tile done. Um, I don't do a leaf pattern in the middle just because of how tile sets work in my engine. You can if you want. It's pretty simple. It's about the same way that you did with the other tile sets, or other edge tiles. So now you just want to copy all of these and bring it into Tile Setter. Paste it in, drag out the middle tile, make sure that there's two tile space in between to avoid overriding the selection here. Select your middle tile, right click and hit Build Borders Blob. And it will generate this nice little tile grid setup for you. Then you select one of your edges and you select in source, image, and then the correct orientation for the edge. Now, you could just use one edge and just rotate it around, and that would be perfectly fine. But if you have multiple tiles with different variations, you might not want to do that. And you can kind of see Tile Setter will auto-complete for you the tile, the edge, but it makes this really blocky square thing, which I don't particularly like. It's great if you're making like dungeon walls, but or like building interiors. It's not so great for making organic looking object like tile sets. It's not great for grass. So how do you fix this? You just select the corner piece, uncheck composite, and then select the tile that you want. And just make sure that the orientation is correct when you do so. There it is. And there's your tile set made. You can now delete that because you no longer need that. Now, you might notice when you go to select your middle tile, hit the Paint Auto tile here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You do that with just scroll wheel. And you go and to paint it in there, you'll notice that maybe it looks a little bland, right? Now, in Tile Setter, there is something you can do about that pretty easily. I'm just going to go in here, delete that. And I'm going to go fill one of these in, or two of them, with that. I'm just going to create a couple of a couple of leaves. Like that. And then I'm also going to make another. And then I'm going to just. Alrighty. So now we have our tiles. I made two different styles for a reason. You'll see that in a minute. So you just go back into Tile Setter. Paste it in here someplace so it doesn't, override what you already have. If you do, you can just press Control Z and it will undo what you did. That works in most applications, in fact. Now you have a few tiles. Just select these three here. And you want to set as proxy. Select the middle tile, scroll down to variants, and I'm going to just set this one to 75, this one to 5, and that one to 5. Now, when you go back in here to brush and you paint on, it should place some blades of grass in here, like so. Very great for making, for breaking it up and making it look more natural. It helps get rid of repeating patterns as well. So now you got something that looks kind of nice. Let's say you're done, right? and you just want to import this into your engine. Well, my engine's GameMaker Studio, so I'll highlight that, go to Export, GameMaker Studio 2.3.0. It says Desktop, name it Grass. TS_grass, save. Okay, so you go select your folder, drag and drop it into tile sets, and it will just import the files associated with it, kind of build the tile set into your project. And it'll tell you when it's done with project tool successful. And now here's your tile set. You just want to go and set the naming conventions for your tile set and your sprites to your preferences. And there's that. And then you just want to go to the room, zoom in a little bit, and go over here. And you'll find you can't just paint the tile set in there. It won't let you. What you got to do is create the tile set layer. And here we are. It's tile set 1 and 2. Go to tile set 1, set your tile set to the one that we just made. And then tile set 2, do the same thing. Now go back to tile set 1. And now you can go to libraries, and now it has the option to tile it in. So I'm going to just create a nice little island here. Now you'll notice that, wait a minute, our tile groupings or proxies aren't working. This is why I essentially told you to set the middle tile as just green, because otherwise you will have repeating patterns all over, and the groupings won't work, and it will make the tile set kind of look not so great. So there are a couple ways of fixing that. Both of them require the brush to build your own brush. So you go into here, into brushes, in the brushes tab, put editing mode on, and kind of just zoom in a little bit. And if you need more tiles, more brushes, you can add them to your the tile set. And then there's that. Couple of different brushes. Now the first one I was going to show you is to do with this. So you just turn editing mode off and select tile set, and you can place it in here, but again, if you put it on corners, it's gonna mess things up. Just put it in there like that. The alternative way that I use is to actually go to the next layer select this one that I made earlier, and you can just layer it over the grass on a different layer. And it makes for a very useful brush. You can make some brushes that make your life very, very, very much simpler. And just break this up a little bit, and there you have it. Um, really nice thing about doing this too, if you have dirt tiles out here and you have like rocks in here and sticks and some flowers or weeds or tufts of grass that you want to kind of incorporate that, you can layer that over those tiles on a different layer, and it will make things, it will make it nice, basically. Um, so here we got, ooh, I like that. That looks pretty nice. I'll do that on all of them. Um, now you got a semi-decent looking scene. When you go to run it, you might notice a bit of a problem. You got screen tearing. Now, there is a super easy fix for that. And it's actually very common problem. I get this problem every time that I import a new tile set from Tilesetter into GameMaker Studio. And that's just because one setting is not changed, is not set up correctly. Fix that, you go to your tile set, go to tile set properties, and smooth those windows out of the way, and you'll notice output border X, output border Y are set to 0. So that's not actually screen tearing. I'm not exactly sure what the actual definition of screen tearing it is. What it is that as you explore, you'll notice that there are gaps between the tiles in some places. And that's just because the borders aren't quite connecting. So to fix that, you just set these to higher than 0. I use 2. I'm sure other values probably work. I haven't tested it though. I use 2, and it works just fine for me. But yeah, here we are. Now, like magic, it's fixed. You can kind of explore the world and everything will look beautiful and wholesome again. But yeah. Also, I think it might actually, maybe I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm gonna try moving the assets behind the tile 2 layer. Apparently I put some tiles that shouldn't be there on that layer. Let's see if I can't fix that. Room editor. Tile instances. Let's make sure all those are gone real quick. I don't remember doing that on that layer. All right. And now it should work like a charm. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I don't think I'll ever do that again. If I want to add an effect like that, then I'll have to come up with another way to do that. Because that looks ugly, actually. Yeah, this is how you learn. You test out new things and see what works. This doesn't. Don't do that. I just learned something new today. Um, but yeah, that's that. Um, I hope you found this helpful. Hope somebody found this helpful. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more of my content as it comes out, want to be notified about my new content as it comes out, don't forget to hit the bell icon below. Very important. Um, yeah, that's about it. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your night and peace out.